The cobblestones of Weatherfield are hiding one of the darkest secrets we have ever seen, and the walls are finally closing in on Sarah Platt. For weeks, we've all been wondering what truly happened to Theo Silverton, and now the explosive truth is out. It was Sarah. But before you jump to conclusions, this wasn't a cold-blooded act. It was a terrifying fight for survival, a desperate moment of protecting her own safety that ended in a tragic passing no one saw coming. What followed, however, is a web of lies so deep it might just cost Sarah everything she holds dear. If you want to stay ahead of all the juiciest drama, unbelievable twists, and exclusive tea from the cobbles, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to CoronationST Update right now. We are dropping the most accurate, deep dive updates every single week, and you absolutely do not want to miss how this jaw-dropping storyline unfolds. Let us take a step back and really look at the gravity of what went down that fateful night. Sarah found herself in an incredibly volatile situation with Theo. We all saw the tension building up over the past few episodes, the subtle red flags, the uneasy glances, but no one could have predicted it would escalate to a point of no return. The confrontation was intense. Theo backed her into a corner, and the sheer panic in Sarah's eyes made it clear that she felt her life was genuinely in danger. In a split second of pure adrenaline and survival instinct, a struggle ensued. It wasn't planned, there was no malicious intent, but when the dust settled, Theo had taken his last breath. Sarah was left standing there, completely paralyzed by shock, staring at a reality that would forever alter the course of her life. She was a mother, a businesswoman, a familiar face on the street, and suddenly she was standing over the outcome of a fatal incident. Now, in a perfect world, or at least a logical one, this is the exact moment you pick up the phone and call the authorities. You explain it was self-defense. You explain that you had no choice. But panic does terrible things to the human mind. The sheer terror of how it would look, the fear of losing her freedom, and the dread of being taken away from her family clouded her judgment completely. Instead of dialing for help, Sarah made a frantic, fateful decision. She reached out to the one person on the street who has a very complicated history with making problems disappear. She called Gary Windass. Gary is no stranger to the dark side of Weatherfield. He has his own ghosts, his own secrets, and a notorious track record of burying things, sometimes quite literally, to protect the people he cares about. When Gary arrived at the scene, he immediately took control of the narrative. He saw Sarah completely falling apart, hyperventilating, and unable to process the magnitude of the tragedy. Gary convinced her that if she told the truth now, the authorities would never believe her. They would twist the narrative, and she would end up behind bars for something she didn't mean to do. So they formed a pact. A damn huge mistake, but a pact nonetheless. They meticulously began the grim task of covering their tracks. They relocated the situation, sanitized the environment, and vowed to take this dark secret to the grave. But keeping a secret of this magnitude on Coronation Street is like trying to hold water in your hands. It always slips through the cracks. The psychological toll of living a lie immediately began eating away at Sarah's soul. Imagine waking up every single morning, walking into Roy's Rolls, ordering a coffee, and smiling at your neighbours, all while carrying the heavy knowledge that you are responsible for someone no longer being on this earth. The sheer cognitive dissonance is enough to break anyone. Sarah started jumping at shadows. Every time a siren wailed in the distance, her heart would drop into her stomach. Every time someone mentioned Theo's sudden disappearance, she had to force her face into a mask of mild, indifferent curiosity. But beneath the surface, she was drowning. And then enters Jod Ramsey. Jod is not the type of person you want sniffing around when you have something to hide. He is incredibly sharp, highly observant, and deeply suspicious. Jod started noticing the little inconsistencies, the timeline that did not quite add up, the sudden, unexplainable tension radiating off Sarah whenever Theo's name was brought up in casual conversation. Jod's intuition told him something was very wrong, and he became relentless. He started asking uncomfortable questions, hovering around Sarah, watching her interactions with Gary, and slowly piecing together a puzzle that Sarah was desperately trying to keep shattered. The psychological warfare between Jod and Sarah has been absolute top-tier television. Every scene they share is dripping with an agonizing tension, where you can almost hear Sarah's pulse racing as Jod drops subtle hints that he knows she is hiding something massive. As if Jod's relentless snooping wasn't bad enough, the official investigation kicked into high gear, led by none other than PC Lisa Connor Swain. Lisa is tenacious, she is meticulous, and she does not believe in coincidences. When accusations surfaced regarding the bizarre circumstances of Theo's sudden vanishing act, Lisa took the reins with a fierce determination to uncover the truth. She started pulling CCTV footage, questioning locals, and tightening the net around everyone who interacted with Theo in his final days. The presence of the authorities on the street brought an unbearable weight to Sarah's daily life. Lisa isn't just a random officer, she is someone deeply embedded in the community, making her investigation feel deeply personal and inescapable. Every time Lisa crossed paths with Sarah, asking seemingly routine questions, it felt like an interrogation. Sarah had to lie, straight to the face of the law, knowing that one tiny slip of the tongue, one contradictory statement, would bring the entire house of cards crashing down. The pressure cooker was hissing, and the steam had to escape somewhere. Sarah's mental health plummeted. We watched her spiral into a state of severe paranoia and exhaustion. The sleepless nights turned into agonizing days. The guilt of taking a life, even in self-defense, combined with the sheer terror of the ongoing cover-up, pushed her to her absolute breaking point. She was isolated, trapped inside her own mind, unable to truly confide in her own family. The Platt household is chaotic on the best of days, but bringing this level of darkness to their doorstep was something Sarah just couldn't do. She was completely alone with her trauma, save for Gary, whose stoic, pragmatic approach to the cover-up only made Sarah feel more alienated. She didn't just need an accomplice, she needed absolution. She needed to let the poison out before it completely destroyed her from the inside. This emotional breaking point led to one of the most powerful, heart-wrenching scenes in recent soap history. Sarah finally snapped. The burden became physically impossible to carry, and she confessed everything. But she didn't confess to the authorities, and she didn't confess to her family. She confessed to Todd Grimshaw. Why Todd? Because Todd operates in the grey areas of morality. He has made his own terrible choices, he has manipulated, he has lied, and he understands the crushing weight of doing the wrong thing for what feels like the right reasons. When Sarah broke down in front of him, the floodgates absolutely shattered. The raw, unfiltered agony of pouring out the truth was incredibly moving. She detailed the terror of the struggle, the haunting memory of Theo's final moments, and the suffocating reality of the cover-up with Gary. Todd's reaction was complex. He was horrified, yes, but he also saw a completely broken woman standing in front of him. Now, Todd holds the most dangerous piece of information on the entire street, adding yet another layer of intense unpredictability to the narrative. Will he use it to his advantage? Will he genuinely try to help her? Or will the secret become too much for him to keep too? The brilliant Tina O'Brien, who has been delivering award-worthy performances week after week, recently opened up about where this storyline is heading, and her insights should have every fan deeply concerned for Sarah's future. Tina pointed out a very crucial legal and moral distinction that sits at the heart of this entire saga. If Sarah had called the authorities immediately after the incident, the evidence of a struggle, her injuries, and the context of the situation would heavily support her claim of protecting her own safety. It would have been a horrific ordeal, but she likely would have walked away a free woman. However, the decision to hide the truth changes everything. In the eyes of the law, an accident combined with a calculated, deliberate cover-up instantly transforms the situation into something far more sinister. Tina suggested that because of the steps Sarah and Gary took to sanitize the scene and obscure the facts, Sarah is now facing permanent consequences. The authorities won't just see a frightened woman who survived an attack. They will see a highly capable individual who orchestrated a massive deception. The original act of self-defense has been entirely eclipsed by the magnitude of the lie. This means that if, or rather when, the full truth comes to light, Sarah might actually lose her freedom. The tragedy is that she survived Theo only to potentially destroy her own life through the subsequent panic. It is a classic, Shakespearean tragedy playing out right there on the cobbles, and it is absolutely captivating to watch. The ripple effects of this secret are going to tear through Weatherfield like a hurricane. Think about the implications for the Platt family when they realise Sarah has been harbouring this darkness while sitting across from them at the dinner table. Think about Gail's reaction, David's reaction, the betrayal they will feel knowing she trusted Gary Windass, of all people, over her own blood. And what about Gary? His involvement makes him an accessory after the fact, pulling him right back into the criminal underbelly he has fought so desperately to escape. Maria's world will be shattered yet again by Gary's secret life. The collateral damage of Sarah's one fateful decision is going to impact nearly every major family on the street. We are officially on the edge of our seats as the walls continue to close in. Jod is not backing down. Lisa Connor Swain is inching closer to the undeniable truth, and Todd is now a wild card carrying a ticking time bomb. Sarah's mental fortitude is completely crumbling, and it feels like it is only a matter of time before someone makes a fatal error that exposes everything to the harsh light of day. Will Sarah turn herself in before the authorities kick her door down? Will Gary take the fall to protect her? Or will Todd use this explosive secret to manipulate the situation for his own gain? The stakes have genuinely never been higher, and the fallout is guaranteed to alter the landscape of Coronation Street forever. This is soap opera storytelling at its absolute finest, gritty, emotional, deeply complex, and impossible to look away from. We are tracking every single development, every leaked spoiler, and every subtle clue dropped in the episodes to bring you the ultimate breakdown. If you loved this deep dive and want to keep up with all the twists, turns, and shocking reveals coming up, you know exactly what to do. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and make sure your notifications are turned on so you never miss a moment of the tea. Thank you so much for trusting CoronationST Update as your #1 source for everything happening on the cobbles, and we will see you in the next video as the drama continues to unfold.